One place you probably can't get away with booing, though, is when you go to the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. But you may well feel inclined to boo. In a column today in The Australian by Dr Ms Kohn, who's a producer and broadcaster and a regular at the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. She went along to a recent performance, and at the start of the performance they did their usual acknowledgement of country. She wasn't particularly perturbed by it because she was expecting it, but it was then followed by a statement that they support the Uluru Statement from the Heart and that they support the yes vote. And she's sitting there with lots of other people going, you know, we've just come along to listen to Rachmaninoff or something and you're advocating to politics about us? It all seems very weird. She wrote in her column today, it was not so long ago that some of our most celebrated composers were under the severe pressures of the dictatorial Soviet regime that used the arts as a vehicle of propaganda. Many artists come to mind, Dmitri Shostakovich, Sergei Rachmaninoff. Both struggled to maintain their freedom of conscience as expressed in their music, with Rachmaninoff finally escaping to the West. The heavy hand of politics within classical music has been a scourge, not a benefit. And she's quite right when she says that. She also went on to write, it's not only an insult to the intelligence of the audience, many of whom would be well read on the issues surrounding the referendum, but it's also an invasion of privacy. I mean, it sort of proves the point again. Like, can we not go anywhere without getting a welcome to country or a yes to the referendum or what? Like, is there anything we can do without being touched by politics in life anymore?
I loved the examples of historically, which she pulled out in this article. The music of the times has been used to push propaganda exactly like this. I was just like, that's exactly what this is. Doesn't matter where you go, even if it's just a jolly symphony, people are having it shoved down their necks.
Yeah.
Was then, is now.
Hey, listen, don't forget a little later on in the show, we'll give you all of tomorrow's headlines tonight, so you hear them here first, including one particular state which has spent more than $200 million on bus fires. That's right, in the last 10 years, they've had more than 50 buses catch fire. We'll be talking about that a little later when we look at the newspapers. But last week, we told you about reports that Melbourne's Alfred Hospital was being overrun with rodents. Well, today, footage emerged from a patient at Royal Melbourne Hospital showing a mouse scurrying under her bed. Extraordinarily, when she complained to nurses, she was told, quote, "Oh, we've been trying to catch it for a while. Just ignore it." There's the mouse there under her bed. She's obviously in hospital trying to get well, worried for her health. And there's Mickey Mouse doing laps. Not only is there the mouse under her bed, there was also mouse poo under her bed. But more than that, she talked about the fact that for 3 days she had to walk across urine on the bathroom floor that hadn't been cleaned up, despite the fact she continually asked staff to clean it up. You know, if Daniel Andrews concentrated on his core responsibilities rather than vanity projects like the rail loop or a Commonwealth Games that never happened, yet compensation had to be paid, or treaties for Indigenous people, then maybe Melbourne, Liz, wouldn't have third world conditions in their hospitals.
And this wasn't even at the hospital that we were talking about. Was it just last week or earlier this week?
The Alfred last week, this week the Royal Melbourne.
Exactly. Not even the same hospital that was dubbed as being infested with rats and mice. What on earth is going on in Victoria that people can't expect something this simple from their health department?
I want to know what the mice are thinking going into these hospitals, because the last place I'd want to be at any time of the day is a mouse. And you're right, I mean, you'd probably rather eat rat bait than a bit of rat sack than hospital food. But it does make you wonder whether these mice are perhaps ending up in the food. You know, they're serving up a bit of ratatouille in the hospital over there.
Gosh.
It's freely available protein.
Spare
But imagine, it probably is indicative of how bad this is and how long it's been going on, that when a nurse has been told that there's a mouse in the room, she goes, "Oh, we've been trying to catch that for a while." Like, they've become so blasé, nonplussed about it. They're used to it.
Yeah, the shocking part of the story was not the mouse, it was the nurse's resignation.
Like, you know, the mouse is there. Like, he's just a resident now.
Another complaint.
What they need to do is introduce cats into hospitals, and the problem would be solved.
I like that because, you know, if I ended up in the hospital, a little cuddle, that'd be lovely. It's dual purpose.
Oh, now it's allowed. Now it's allowed.